Go ahead. Let's go with quadrant 1, the Newtools ideas. Go ahead.
Okay, here you can see what we talked about earlier, how the icosahedron has a skeleton and then the dodecahedron fits inside of it. And it's so interesting, the symmetry. The outside corners of the dodecahedron fit in all of the 20 centers of the icosahedron.
Wow.
And the change in the edge here is the golden ratio times 3.
Wow.
So here's the introduction. Now I sort of put all of these ideas in the introduction. These are the basic ideas that can we get rid of this?
No, we can't. That's part of the Zoom part.
No.
Let's just a second. Hold on.
Here, no, I
I'll
got
just
it.
move it. I'll just move it. Yeah, perfect.
So you can take a screenshot of this. So this is basically what's going on here. How modular building patterns are interconnected into one whole system. The expansion of Buckminster Fuller's idea, the definition of synergy, a new way to understand structural integrity, catalog of structural numerical constants, which is really the basis of all of the interconnectedness. And what is fundamental that overall I define 20 systems as fundamental, but we limit it to the 5 Platonic solids. So that's basically what's going on here. Here you see the 5 Platonic solids, the icosahedron, the dodecahedron, the cube, the tetrahedron, and the octahedron. Here are their skeletons. And then this is how they fit inside each other like nesting dolls.
Mm-hmm.
We no longer call them Russian dolls.
Mm-hmm.
It is illegal to call them that.
Mm-hmm.
You may call them Ukrainian dolls. So here are the 20 systems
Mhm.
that Newtools geometry defines as most fundamental. On the website, we will cover all of these. All of these are the truncated ones. This is the buckyball. This is the truncated rhombic dodecahedron. This one with the corners sliced off. And each one of them is the cube with the corner sliced off, the octahedron with the corner. But we don't get into any of those right now. But there's some really interesting modular ideas in those as well. And there's some all space filling. So the reason that the Greeks said that these were the most fundamental was because each one of them has the same outside edge. Their outside edge, outside shapes, their edges are all the same.
Mhm.
And then the corners are all made by the same combination of shapes. For example, like the rhombic dodecahedron, there's one corner that has 4 around, but another corner that just has 3 around.
Mhm.
So these 5 are the only ones in all of geometry that have this. And they said it's outside appearance is what is fundamental. I hope by now you understand that I think it's what's going on inside. So how to measure?
But that's a very profound point. Greeks just thought about it from outside. And so they missed this, that a system has an inside and an outside. And what you're doing is it's systematically relating the inside and outside of all of these Platonic solids with each other by putting them inside each other, seeing what happens. So it's like what is inside of one is outside, part of the outside of the other. So you can see all the relationships.
And there's always a constant relationship between, if you want to put this one inside that one, there's all you have to do is memorize that. So when you're building and you want to do something that it's going to insulate and you want to have several layers, then you have all of these things that fit inside each other and it reinforces. For example, we saw that in the icosahedron and the dodecahedron inside, if you have a large triangle in the center, it's going to be weak. But if you have some kind of dodecahedron-like structure, that will reinforce there. So that's how nature works.
Wow.
Do more by using less.
Mm-hmm.
So we've talked about the numbers, and circles are just amazing. When I discovered the self-organizing properties of circles, you just draw a line on a page and then choose some radius.
Mhm.
And you start on the side and you drew one where the circle interferes with the center line, then
Mhm.
that's a location in common. You
Mhm.
do another circle and another circle. And so then each shape has these lines of communication that defines a shape. So here you see that we're connecting, it makes the hexagon
Mhm.
and makes these 60-degree diamond
Wow.
as well as the 60-degree triangle.
Mhm.
So in self-organizing, a pattern that's self-organizing, self-stabilizes. So you see that the triangle is the only self-stabilizing shape. The next thing they do is self-correct by lining up these. Say if this is a little bit off,
Mhm.
then it realigns.
Mhm.
Then it's self-regenerating so that it's propagating all of these, and it will continue building past what you measured. And then there's self-innovation. So when you see up here, there's one way of dividing the diamond shape so that the edge gets divided in half. But there's actually 3 ways to do that.
Mhm.
And when you do that, then not only do you find the center,
Mhm.
but you also define the edges.
I really like this progression of doing this along one dimension first, then two dimensions.
And then it also, you find out that here's the altitude, right? And we
mhm.
know that whatever this edge is, you multiply it times the square root of 3, and you'll get this edge. This is 1/3 of that edge, and this is 2/3 of that edge. And so then we get into what we've talked about before, that each one of the shapes has a color, and those colors have a 90-degree triangle. And so then here is sort of how that it all, here are the angles that go with them.
Let's repeat one more time the color system.
Okay, the yellow
Mhm.
is for the 60-degree triangle, the equilateral triangle.
Mhm.
The blue is for the square.
Mhm.
The green is for the sphere diamond, which builds the rhombic dodecahedron and those. The orange is the bubble diamond that does the triicontohedron and the interior structures. And then red is for the pentagon.
Thank you.
And then all of these show you all the different useful information that's associated with that color. So when you see the color blue, you know it's a square. You know that the square root of 2, that whatever this edge is, this long axis will be the square root of 2 by the edge. Or if you know this long axis, you divide it by the square root of 2 to get the edge. And each one of these is the same thing, that you know what the constants are, so that whatever you know, this is why they're self-organizing. And it makes it so simple. When you see a color, then you know all of this information, and all you need is just one measurement and you know all of them.
Yes. So folks, there is hundreds, if not thousands, of different models which have these multiple shapes in this website. So whenever you see a color, this is what you refer to, of saying, okay, this is what it is. And like what will happen is that over time, this will become kind of automatized for you. So you will see, oh, this is a pentagon, this is part of this is this. And that's wonderful. Thank you.
So then we have the numbers and we have the shapes. I call that the not us. And sort of the simplest expression of design in nature relative to basic geometry is those 4 numbers and those 6 shapes.
Why do you call it not us? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Because when we say design in nature, people think that it's not about us. So I made one part that isn't us, specifically called not us. And then the part that is us, how we measure it, how we locate it, how we think about it, is what the BB, you, me measuring system is.
Nice. Okay.
And that's what we have here. So here is the radius that I talked earlier, that the International Federation of in 2000, they changed it from 1.9 to 2 centimeters. And when they did that, that's when I got the idea for the measuring system, because, oh, that's such a nice round number. So then remember that you always measure from center to center. And then what this produces is the most effective minimum state. It is my theory that design in nature always works towards the most effective minimum state, which means most effective is like this balance between choice and usefulness, so that there's this variety with sustainability. But sustainability also comes out of the minimum state, which means that the most economical in use of material and space, least effort to realize and replicate, most accommodating to change. And the measuring system connects this individual, whatever you're measuring, to a larger system.
Wonderful.
So that's the MIM. Always be looking for this, because that's how these communication networks work. They always go for the most effective minimum way of connecting between this part and that part.
No, I love this concept. I mean, this is a profound concept.
And so then we go through a kind of a quick overview of the closest packing of spheres. In the next one, we'll do a much more, but you see each one of the layers. Now, this guy right here is 4 circles that you can fold into the vector equilibrium. Let me just show you real quick that down in this portal, right at the end, is how to build this, because it connects with the icosahedrodeca, which can be made out of 6 circles. And so then these 4 circles, there's once again the self-organization of the circles. And then this is how you, on one side, you score it along the equator, and then the other side, you score it there. So it folds into this little bow tie. And you can use hairpins, as you can see here, that makes the icosahedrodeca. And then you can see here how they both fit together. These are the all space filling and the 5-fold symmetries that are always taught separately and never connected together. And here you see that they just fit together so beautifully. So let's go back. There's always these interconnections between the different portals. So let's go to tool applications. So here is what I talked about earlier, the nesting dolls. And so each one of these sizes is the one that fits into the other. So you see here that the dodecahedron fits inside the icosahedron, and the difference between those two is 3 times the golden ratio. The cube in the dodecahedron is the golden ratio. The tetrahedron inside the cube is the square root of 2. The octahedron inside the tetrahedron is 2. And then it repeats. So the icosahedron inside the octahedron is the square root of 2 times, times the golden ratio to the 2nd power. Whatever the edge is, you multiply that this number. So that's what it is here. See, the square root of 3 is this number. The square root, it just, how the cube and the dodecahedron fit. This is just this beautiful modular piece. And I mean, it's just screaming for some house to be built out of this. And then how the tetrahedron fits into the cube, this little piece right here is 1/8 of an octahedron. This is the work of Fabiano Schwabi that did hundreds, if not thousands, of images of my models in digital form.
Wow.
He's this Brazilian architect I work with. His work is just beautiful. And then the octahedron that's inside the tetrahedron and the icosahedron that's inside the octahedron. And then a preview of the periodic table. And we'll just go through this because we'll get to this later. And you see that there's just this beautiful, beautiful symmetry. And So here you can see that because we know the colors, okay, you know that there's a 60-degree triangle there, there's a cube, there's the sphere, diamond,